I have some very, very bad news for Conor McGregor fans. The comeback that we've been talking about since UFC 264, when he broke his leg, is not going to happen. All right. Unfortunately, Conor McGregor did a press conference after the BKFC event that was yesterday, and Conor was asked about his return to the UFC, and this is what Conor McGregor had to say about fighting again.
Conor, you keep saying that you're going to fight in bare knuckles, so when is it going to happen?
You know, like I said, I've got 2 fights on the contract. I'm in negotiations. Last week, something happened to me. I went to the White House, and my country is in my, my heart bleeds for my country right now. So there's a lot of stuff going on back home. I'm happy with what I've done. You know, there's something else for me that's in my gut right now.
The one thing that we did not want to hear as Conor McGregor fans and just as UFC fans hoping for the return. Now, I said this on one of my live streams when he went to the White House, that Donald Trump was going to be the reason that Conor McGregor never fights again. Now, I don't mean that Trump is telling him to not fight or anything like that, but Conor McGregor seeing the blueprint that Donald Trump laid out in the US, where you go from celebrity to president, or, political figurehead, whatever it is. Conor sees that for himself. Conor is somebody that has achieved everything possible, undisputed championships, all the money in the world, all the pay-per-view records, all the gate records, all these different things. I'm not mad at him if he's decided that he's done everything there is to do, because we're at the point with Conor's career where it's like there isn't anything more for him to accomplish except for to continue fighting and entertaining us. And I understand why that's not the biggest motivation to come back. Everything that was his motivating factor to fight in the UFC or fight at all is gone. Money, fame, taking care of his family, all those things. He's achieved those things. He's as famous as he's ever going to get as a fighter. And so it makes complete and total sense as to why he's ready to move on. Let's hear a little bit more of his explanation, though. But Conor seeing the blueprint from Donald Trump of celebrity to president is definitely, like he said, a very heavy factor in what he wants to do next.
And that's kind of where I'm going. So we'll see. Greatness don't rush also. Greatness does not rush. There was an opportunity, or a deal, we'll say, to fight in Alcatraz, only recent. There's an event going on in Alcatraz in, I believe, June. And they came to me, and it wasn't my worth. You know, as a fighter, we've got to know our worth. I hold every pay-per-view record in the book. I hold every gate record in the book. And my comeback will be slated as the greatest comeback, or the biggest, most anticipated comeback of all time. So it has to be right. And right now, Ireland is in my thoughts, and that's where I'm at. It will happen, I'm sure. And it's always great to be here, and there you go.
So he kind of walks that back a little bit, where he says it's not over and it'll happen, I'm sure, but there's other things on his mind. I mean, we have to keep in mind that Conor McGregor is literally 36 years old. So if there's going to be a comeback, it needs to be like essentially now. Conor fights at 145, 155, 170. Those are his weight classes in his career. All of those weight classes, fighters' performances deteriorate and their careers tend to hit a downward trend after 35. Whereas in the heavier weight classes, people's career longevity is much longer, where you have John Jones, Alex Pereira that are in their late 30s, still having a ton of success in those weight classes. Conor also elaborated on a Alcatraz deal. Now, that's been a rumor for a few months now, that they're going to turn the legendary Alcatraz prison in the San Francisco area into a boxing venue. I did not know that Conor McGregor was offered some sort of fight, or that, a deal was offered. So even though Conor says he's got other things on his mind, he wants to fight again. But I think what's going to happen is the same thing he's been doing, where he says he wants to fight, and then he doesn't actually follow through.
Albert off Roman, Bare Knuckle News. Conor, thanks for coming out here in Miami. We know you love Miami. Question.
So they move on to other topics after that, but Conor McGregor's comeback is something that's been talked about since UFC 264 when he broke his leg, and I'm really doubting that it happens now. And if he doesn't, fair play to him. He can do whatever he wants. He's made all the money. He literally turned the UFC into one of the biggest sports in the world. He was a major factor in turning it from a taboo human cockfighting show, as many people would call it back in the day, to a mainstream sport that is on ESPN, which is one of Disney's networks. So what Conor's done for the sport is absolutely remarkable, regardless of his personal problems and issues outside of the octagon, or even issues in the octagon with broken legs and brawls after fights and things like that. If he wants to move on, I get it. And I have no hate or anything. Like, I'm not going to say anything negative about a guy that's made billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars at this point, not wanting to risk his health, his safety, and all of that in a cage fight with a trained professional that's, you know, way more committed to the craft than he is at this point in his fighting career. So it looks like we're done. In my opinion, it looks like it's a wrap on Conor. Now, it's a little bit confusing because one of my subscribers and friend of the channel, Ty Betts, did send me this from a DraftKings kiosk, which shows odds for Conor versus Dan Hooker and John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. And they're actually odds, like money line odds, not odds like as to whether or not the fight's going to happen. So take a look at that. Do with that what you will. But it's looking like Conor McGregor's career as a active fighter is over. I could see at some point like a boxing rematch with Jose Aldo when they're older or something like that. But Conor McGregor as an active competitor in mixed martial arts or any combat sport has most likely come to an end. Let me know your thoughts down below. Did you like this video? Then like and subscribe down below. I also do multiple live streams per week, along with behind the scenes content and members only live streams for our channel members. So become a channel member for access to bonus content. It's only $5 per month and it greatly helps the channel's growth. I also do a podcast with my best friend Bo, and I have a non-MMA channel as well called Wyatt's World. You can check both of those out linked below.